good Thursday morning and a nice night of baseball for both the Mets and the Yankees. A couple of victories. We saw good bullpen work from both of these teams. We saw a stolen base from the New York Yankees, the first time since June 15th. We've got the oh my God vibes going with Jose Iglesias. Me and you are going to Citi Field today, which is a shocker. The fact that we're going to go and watch this team that I thought was completely dead just a month or so ago. So things are good this morning with New York baseball, and we can put down the fire Aaron Boone, trade Pete Alonso just for one morning, because last night there was nothing really to complain about, but we'll find something. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, nobody finds more stuff to complain about than us. I'm doing well, although I didn't think I was going to make it after yesterday's round of golf you and I had in the sweltering heat over there at Edgewood Country Club in New Jersey, which was a beautiful place.
Beautiful.
Great day.
Yes.
Awesome guests. Treated us like royalty.
Yeah, really, really
I
great.
mean, but it was hot. It was really hot. I thought there was a point in time where I thought you were going to faint.
Yeah.
I think it was like hole maybe 14 or 15 where it's back down in the lower part of the golf course.
Yeah.
And I looked at you, and I literally thought you were going to pass out.
Yeah, I was close. I thought there was one point where I just decided I got to take a hole off. Like I just need to sit in the cart in the shade because I was getting lightheaded. I've never complained about the heat in my life, and I will not complain about it. But yesterday I got for the first time in July uncomfortable.
I
was uncomfortable.
It was hot. There was no question about it. And
I might add legitimately 10 to 15, maybe 20 liters of liquid.
Yes.
And didn't urinate one time. One time.
It has to be some
How's
sort
that
of
possible?
Has to be some sort of record. And and by the way,
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get home?
2 hours and 45 minutes.
And how many miles was that?
I didn't even look at
It was like 55 miles.
Yeah, it was less. It was less than 60.
So we were up in that would be considered North Jersey. And I don't want to insult
Offend
anybody.
people. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, because we were north of the George Washington Bridge.
That's correct. Yeah,
and then we had to get involved in the George Washington Bridge. And the first thing I always think of when I get to the George Washington Bridge is how in the F did they not have enough money to pay for everything when everybody on this bridge is paying god-awful amounts of money to go across it and sit in traffic for an hour.
Yeah, that's what I think about the Verrazzano as well. That toll
double-decker bridges that have 8 lanes going each way.
Yeah. I mean, it is, and you think about all the money that everybody is paying. It's mind-blowing. But
how much money do those – Al, do you have any idea, because Al's usually on this, do you have any idea how much the GW Bridge brings in on a given day?
I do not.
It is utter madness over
Just
there.
Google it.
And also the Verrazzano, by the way, which I'm sure is equally as maddening, although I would imagine the GW Bridge is the most traveled bridge in the tri-state area. It has to be. Because it's I-95, it's trucks, it's double-decker, it's and then trying to get off, it is, you take your life in your own hands.
Let's see. How much money does GW Bridge make a day?
What do you got? 300,000 cars and trucks going across that thing a day?
This is way more than I thought.
Really?
What do you think the answer is?
I want to say 350,000 cars and trucks going across the bridge a day. Does that sound right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about the dollar amount.
The dollar amount. Well, I guess you got to. Oh, I mean, now you're asking me to do math at 6:04 in the morning.
Just throw out a number.
All right, I got to throw out $17.5 million
A day.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. It's just there was a million. It's $1 million a day, $350 million per year.
Okay, all right.
But $1 million a day. I mean, $1 million a day.
We were right there when they were collecting that million yesterday.
I mean, million a day.
It's just.
That's like John Carlos Stanton's contract. $1 million a day.
And it's like the Holland Tunnel coming in out of New York City, where there's like 5 or 6 different entrances going into 2 lanes.
Yeah. That's right.
And
It's
it's a quagmire down here, and maybe the worst. Really, I figured out the worst road, and I know we've talked about this, and we'll get the Mets and the Yankees in a second. The worst road situation, I think, in the tri-state area is the wormhole you go down into on Tunnelly Avenue trying to figure out how to get into the Holland Tunnel when you're coming from Jersey.
Okay.
It's not so bad when you're leaving New York into Jersey, but that's the rusty part of Jersey down there.
Rusty?
Yeah, I mean, like there's South Jersey, there's Central Jersey, there's North Jersey, and then there's Rusty Jersey. And that's the Rusty Jersey. And they figured it out, and I got to give them predit because they took care of that Pulaski Skyway, and they rebuilt it.
Yeah.
And they just made everything brown.
They did.
So it looks rusty, but it's a shiny rusty.
It's a shiny, rusty Jersey. Yeah,
that's the rusty part of Jersey. Yes.
I called a buddy of mine on the way home just to kill some time and talk to him, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm on the GW Bridge." He goes, "Oh." I was like, "Yeah, that's right."
That's pretty much the reaction that we get from everybody around here, and
that's
everybody
right.
gets the same reaction when they're going through the same thing.
Yeah, very much so. But at least we got home and we weren't going, "Oh."
No,
we were watching baseball yesterday.
We were watching
right?
baseball. It was great, and this Jose Iglesias, when the Mets have a good year, there always seems to be something.
Some sort of theme.
Yeah, whether it be Timmy Trumpets, whether it be, who let the dogs out.
Mojo Rising in 99.
Rising, it could be the Grimace. This year it seems to be the Oh My God song, which I did download immediately after I heard it.
Yeah.
And it's a great song. And Jose is kind of like being reborn here.
Yeah, and it's really this more than anything feels like the positive thing that turned the team around. Obviously, we've talked about other things and Grimace and whatever else.
Meeting.
But yeah, that
team
too,
meeting.
yeah. But it's also it's the energy of Jose Iglesias. It's the team and rallying behind the OMG signs. I'm sure we're going to see a ton of them at Citi Field today. So yeah, I mean that's the thing that gives me hope for the rest of the season is the fact that these guys seem to really like one another now and are playing for each other. In the beginning of the season, it was a group that felt disjointed. It felt like they were going through the motions. And now they feel like there's one of these teams that these guys are going to stay in touch with each other for the rest of their lives because something special went on. Now, still, I'm not going to go crazy. They're still built in a way that is not sustainable to be able to get to a playoff spot and secure one very easily because their bullpen is that freaking bad.
Well, they're trying, and David Stearns is trying. Now, here's the thing. Remember when Joe Shane and Brian Daboll got here? We figured, okay, they're going to shake it up. It's usually what GMs and new coaches do, especially in the NFL. They get a new quarterback. They do that, whatever the situation may be, they try to rectify it by making as much change as they possibly can because the previous regime, the previous players, most likely are not going to be successful. So David Stearns is kind of in the middle of evaluating all of that, the way the Mets do business, the way the players interact with each other. You name it. He's got to figure all of this out, and he's just in the infancy of his time here. And now all of a sudden, the Mets are pulling a little bit of the New York Giants of 3 years ago. Like they're playing better than I think most of us thought, especially after the first month of the season. And we were all talking about the trading deadline, buyers versus sellers. And you and I were sitting here a month ago saying they're going to be sellers, and it's going to be heartbreaking to lose Pete Alonso, and the fans are not going to be happy about this. And all that still may happen. But at the moment we sit here, they are relevant, they are in the race, and they can't be sellers at this moment. And if they were, I think that's kind of corporate suicide, if you will.
Yeah.
Because there is a nice vibe around the team. And the other thing that happened yesterday, Iglesias usually is in there because they put him up there against left-handed pitchers and things of that nature. And all of a sudden, I don't know whether it was a lack of a left-handed option or somebody that Carlos Mendoza didn't want to go with, but he left Iglesias in against the right-hander. And maybe it was just a feel thing. Maybe it was an oh, my God thing. Maybe it was a Candelita thing. I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, he left him in.
Yes, that's right, a Candelita thing. Maybe it was a Candelita thing. Here's something else I thought about with the trade deadline and who runs the team now. So you've got a president of baseball operations who grew up a huge Mets fan. And that's been a big thing, right? I'm a Mets fan, this and that. I used to sit up in Shea Stadium.
The owner, too, by the way.
Right. So I was going to say, the owner also claims to have, even though I've heard other things, but claims to have been a Met fan his entire life. Right. Passionate about everything to do with the organization, came in here, and really there's an ode to history that the Wilpons did not have. Does that fandom that is woven into these guys affect what they do when it comes to situations like this? Because when you're someone...
How could it not?
But I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem.
I want them to want to win now. And they do.
I know, but sometimes it's not the best thing to do when you're thinking about next year, the year after that, the year after that. Like if David Stearns is like all into this year and they're 2 games under 500 at the trade deadline, he's like, you know what? This group, I really like this group. This reminds me of the team that I was rooting for when I was 7 years old, sitting up in the old red seats at the upper deck of Shea Stadium. Be like, no. We don't need that. Yeah. We need, you say it all the time. Ruthless with the general manager. You can't have like fanboy mentality with a team. I just wonder if he's still wired like that.
I would say I think there's part of, how could it not be? I mean, part of him has to, if he is as big a fan as he claims to be, part of him going to the stadium every day and evaluating the team, he's got to be just as frustrated as Met fans have been over the years. So I would think that, yes, there's a tinge of that, and he also has the keys to the franchise, meaning that he can make decisions. And how cool is that he's able to do that,
sure,
given the fact that he is a Met fan. So I kind of think that because the team is winning, and it does coincide with that team meeting, it coincides also with Francisco Alvarez coming back off the injured list and being a part of this every day. He has the energy, much like the oh my God and Jose Iglesias has the energy. Right now, it's positive, and Met fans are showing out. I guess they had about 30,000 last night. I heard those guys when we were coming back from golf yesterday talking about, $5 Tuesdays, and I guess there was a little bit of a backup in lines, and people were missing like a lot of the game because there were guys trying to double fist beers for $5 and elbowing little kids out of the way to get hot dogs. I mean, it wouldn't be a Met game without some sort of controversy attached to it.
Was that I did not hear that part of it yesterday.
I mean, like Evan was breaking it down yesterday.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not too worried about that.
$5 Tuesdays,
which I think is a great thing. I mean, it's a great thing. And,
I'm saying $5 Tuesdays made kids get elbows to the grill.
Well, that's how I took it. But they also said that they gave away like Met kind of soccer jersey night.
Okay.
So they had a very big crowd.
Yeah.
So if you have a $5 Tuesday night and you have Mets soccer jersey giveaway night all at the same time, you're going to get a lot of people there. And there are going to be lines. And I don't know if there's a limit to the amount of $5 hot dogs, beers, and Cokes or whatever. Water.
You can't limit that, can they? How are you going to limit that?
I don't know. But if you got, some big sausage-eating, guy with meat hooks, and he's up there, like, Peter Schwartz is up there, and and he's grabbing like 3 beers, give me 5 pretzels, give me 10 hot dogs, and you got some little kid, can I have a hot dog, please?
Yeah.
And he's looking right at Peter Schwartz's ass on a hot, steamy Tuesday night. I mean, it's not going to be anything but just a royal pain in the ass.
I'll tell you,
for a lot of people.
Is there anything worse in sports when you go to a game where some a-hole adult puts themselves and what they want over a child who has got the bright eyes and everything is great, and the kid is like, man, like this is my first baseball game. I've got my glove. I've still got my innocence. And then it's ripped away by this guy that you described, not Peter, but some swamp-ass pig who wants 75 hot dogs for the price of 16 hot dogs.
And that's the point. Like, so here we go. We're going today.
Yeah.
And it's essentially dads and daughters.
Yeah.
Or dad. Well, Kazzie's going to be outnumbered, but that's okay. But, we're going with a bunch of dads, and they're bringing their kids. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a totally great day. And I was just trying to think if there was anybody in this group that would fit that. I don't think so. I think all these dads.
No.
All these dads are all about their kids having a great time and a great experience.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way. Now,
And I don't want any fighting over chicken wings or chicken tenders.
It's not going to be
or gluten-free pizza. I don't want anybody fighting over anything, all right?
No, there's not. There's not going to be any fighting.
Boomba runs a tight ship now.
Trust me, I totally understand. I was giving Sabrina the whole rundown. I said, listen, you better be on your best behavior. This is not. You're not going to the trampoline park,
right?
All right, we're going to take in this game like civilized people, human beings.
It's going to be great. But I was just thinking, do you think Benji could be a guy that could, try to get a ball before a kid?
Benji?
Yeah.
Allie's boyfriend, Benji.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think he's a good guy.
I think he's just sort of just floating through life, Benji. He's just having a great time.
Floating through life.
He's just playing golf. He's out on jet skis on his vacation.
Yeah.
He's making his golf apparel line. He's just sort of floating through with a big smile on his face.
Good for him.
Yes. I don't think he's that type of guy that's going to go into Citi Field and start elbowing kids for hot dogs.
What section are you guys in?
Sweet section.
Well, I mean, this is what you got to do with kids. You got a bunch of kids like that.
It was just
especially dads and daughters.
That was my first experience too. Yeah.
Yeah. What? How old were you when you went to a game?
1975. So against the Pirates. So I guess I was 7.
Okay.
Hey, listen, Mr. Shorehaven, wealth partner. I'm not going to make an excuse for getting a suite for a Mets game. After I used to wait on my stoop in Islip for my father to come and pick me up to take me to Shea Stadium, and I had my Mets entire outfit on, and we'd be sitting in the upper deck.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm getting an upgrade. That's basically the way I look at it. And at the age of 63,
God bless.
I'm damn well getting an upgrade.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Just like you, I'm sure you stayed in when you went to, where do you go again? Coudersport?
Coudersport, Pennsylvania.
Coudersport, PA. I'm sure you and Mrs. Scazzeri had a very nice, I'm sure it was a suite wherever you were staying.
No.
Yeah.
It was a barn that was converted to a B&B.
Oh, a whole barn. You had a whole barn.
No.
Were you sleeping on hay? What were you doing?
No.
No?
It was one little section of the barn.
And I slept next to a llama's ass in the barn on a bale of hay.
Yeah, I mean,
was it a communal shower?
By the way,
No.
all of us, including Boomer, have put in our time when it comes to slumming it to these games. Like whether it was the 7 line or parking and under the train trestle of the elevated subway line at Roosevelt Boulevard.
I got
or
stuck on a train.
going to 41 games, driving in from Brookhaven Hamlet. But we put in all our time.
And I think Al actually sat with the 7 line the last time he went, I think.
And I know you remember this, and I know Al remembers this, that the first year that Citi Field opened, who had season tickets? Me and Carton had season tickets. And then that became a whole issue about who's coming, who's going. And, our friends didn't mix very well.
Oh, you told me that story.
Yeah, they just didn't mix very well.
That was one of the first stories that you told me when I started this job to warn me to don't do something like that.
Yeah, don't ever do
what
that.
type of friends do you have? Are they idiots? If I invite them somewhere, are they going to ruin my time?
Yeah.
I specifically remember that because that had some indelible, lasting effect on me.
Well, I'm not saying his friends were idiots. I'm just saying his friends and my friends, who could have been idiots at the time, too, because some of my friends who could be meatheads. You put 2 sets of meatheads together, and they just don't see the world in the same way. You got a meathead problem.
You do have a meathead problem. Quickly, James in Woodhaven. What's going on, James?
Good morning, guys. I just wanted to chime in. You guys are bringing up traumatic memories for me. I was 13 or 14 years old, and I was on top of the Met dugout before a Sunday afternoon game, and Wally Whitehurst rolled me a baseball, and I thought that was the greatest thing on earth, and this dude crawled across the dugout and screamed at me, "That's mine," and stole the ball and ran away.
Oh, you've been dealing with that ever since. It's
I never got a ball either. All the games I went to, I never got a ball after that either.
Wow, really?
Yeah, he's still holding it
All right,
against that guy.
so James, now here's the question for you. You've never gotten a ball. Let's say the next baseball game you go to, a foul ball goes right into your hands. You catch it perfectly. And then you look to your right, and it's a kid that you don't know, but it's a 6-year-old kid with his glove who looks up to you, glassy-eyed, saying, man, I wish that was me that had that ball. Do you hang on to the ball?
No, I'm giving it to the kid, and I did it actually at a hockey game when, I don't mean to keep you guys, when during the pre-skate, they flipped pucks into the stands, and there was this I caught a puck from one of the Washington Capitals, and the little girl was next to me looking up at me just, I said, here you go, honey, and I handed her the puck. I don't care. I'm an adult. Come on.
Just making sure, because there's some people out there that be like, I never got a ball before. They're like 55 years old. I never got a ball. You got your whole life to get a ball. I never got a ball.
So he, obviously had this deep-seated resentment attached to this kind of situation, and he used it in a positive nature. And he gave the ball to the little girl. Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful story.
It really is a beautiful story.
Real quickly, Brian in Milltown. What's happening, Brian?
Hey, Boomer. How you doing?
All right, good, man. What's going on?
I just want to let you know. So I was there Tuesday when everyone was there. So the way they did it is, in theory, you couldn't buy any more than 4 of those $5 things at one time, whether that be Coke, beer, pretzel, hot dog. You could only do 4 at a time. Now, I don't know if they really enforced it that much. The issue was, I don't think they expected 31,000, so a lot of the stands were closed, which is why there were such long lines at the stands that were open. I'm hoping they'll fix that coming up on the next Tuesday one, but...
All right, listen, it was their first foray into it. I heard Evan talking about this.
Yeah.
It was their first foray into it, so they'll learn their lesson, I would think.
Right. And after the All-Star break, they have free government cheese night against the Florida Marlins. You stand in line.
But they also gave away the jersey, the soccer jersey.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you the time that I made a government cheese joke and then it really offended someone because he actually waited in line for government cheese? And I was like, I'm sorry. Oh, it's so awkward.
Have you had government cheese?
I haven't, but I said something like there was a line somewhere, and I was like, I feel like they're giving away government cheese.
Government cheese.
And this guy, he was an old boss of mine, and he sounded like he was doing a bad Johnny Carson impression.
It's like Kraft singles, like American cheese.
I think they used to be in little packets or something. I don't know, like stuff you'd squeeze onto those mac and cheeses.
Oh,
so he goes, government cheese, huh? You ever wait in line for government cheese? Because I had to. We were that poor. And I'd be out there in Michigan in the cold, waiting in line, just so I could have some nourishment, because my parents couldn't afford anything but the government cheese.
Who is it, D.A.?
No, his
it
name
sounded
was
like
Ryan
D.A.
McGuire. Yeah,
it sounded like Damon Amendola.
No, Damon Amendola. We're like, all right, Marash, let's stuff government cheese up his nose and try to shoot it out his butt. All right, we've got what now? Jerry joining us in just a couple of minutes. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. Just getting started on this Thursday morning.